Okay, I'd like to bring the Upper Moreland Township Public Health and Safety meeting together. Tonight, Charles Whiting could not make the meeting. So here tonight, we have myself and Commissioner Skull. We have Chief Block, Chief Glassman, Chief Davidson, and Randy Scheibel. So with that, we have no presentations. The approval of the minutes. We okay?
I'm good with them. Yep.
Okay. Any public comments on the minutes? No? Okay. For our acceptance approval of the monthly reports. Police Department, Chief Block.
Good evening. Thank you, President McFatridge. It's a pleasure to present the April 2023 monthly report for the Upper Moreland Police Department. In April, we responded to 1,309 calls for service, and that brings us to year-to-date 5,157 calls within the township. The monthly Police Department call volume has increased 5% when comparing our volume to a year ago in April of 2022. Our outlying year-to-date data call volume. In April of 2022, there were 4,965 calls year-to-date. In 2021, 4,581 calls. And in April of 2020, 4,436 calls. The overall difference between that time period, between April of 2020 and April of 2023, is a 14% increase in the call volume. The following crimes were reported and investigated by the Upper Moreland Police Department in April. There was one burglary, which was cleared by an arrest. There were 2 sexual assaults, 6 theft of motor vehicles, 46 theft offenses, with 19 cleared by an arrest. Following Part 2 crimes were reported and investigated by the police department. There was 1 disorderly conduct offense, 3 public intoxication offenses that were cleared with an arrest, 3 narcotics investigations with 6 individuals arrested, 28 other crimes were committed and they were cleared by an arrest. The Patrol Division conducted the following proactive measures. There were 450 vehicle investigations, 83 hazardous traffic violations were issued, 131 non-hazardous traffic violations issued, 7 parking citations and 1 parking warning was issued, 12 homeless contacts. There were 9 DUI investigations. And those arrests all occurred between 7 at night and 7 in the morning. The Traffic and Highway Safety Unit conducted the following investigations, activities, and studies during the month of April. There were 43 calls for service, 1 parking citation issued, 3 directed patrols, 11 traffic and parking investigations, 167 traffic stops and motor vehicle investigations, 108 warnings were issued, 45 hazardous moving citations were issued, 48 non-hazardous moving citations issued. There were 303 bus patrol citations issued for the month of April. This is down 11 from March. And the total citations issued since we went online on October 24th of 2022 is 1,659 bus patrol citations. There were 2 motor carrier inspections. Nobody was taken out of service as far as drivers or vehicles for the month of April. Our Detective Bureau CID was busy during April of 2023. They had 1 assault investigation, 1 elder abuse investigation, 1 theft from auto investigation, 1 recovered stolen vehicle investigation, 1 retail theft, 1 burglary investigation, 1 overdose investigation, which was, thank God, non-fatal, 2 school threat investigations, 2 missing persons investigations, 2 death investigations, 4 sexual assault investigations, 5 firearms investigations, and 5 stolen vehicles or attempted vehicle thefts, and 6 child line investigations. Along with the investigations that were open, the following arrest and search warrants were served during the month of April. There was 1 terroristic threats warrant served, 1 attempted homicide warrant served, 1 retail theft and 1 false report warrant served, 1 protection from abuse violation. The warrant was served. There were 2 violations of the Uniform Firearms Act. Those warrants were served. 2 assist from other law enforcement agency warrants and 3 disorderly conduct harassment warrants. 3 search warrants were issued for the month. 1 was for a DNA search warrant, 1 was for a vehicle search warrant, and 1 was for the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission search warrant for videos at the interchange. Following is the overview of our Part 1 crime statistics for burglaries and robberies. Year-to-date in 2023, there were 9 burglaries to date with 3 clearances. In 2022, there were 3 burglaries with 3 clearances. In 2021, 5 burglaries with 1 clearance, and in 2020, 4 burglaries with no clearances. Our robbery offenses investigated year-to-date, there have been 7 robberies reported year-to-date with 8 clearances. In 2022, 2 robberies reported with 2 clearances. In 2021, 4 robberies with no clearances. And in 2024, robberies were reported and they were all cleared by arrest. All robberies remain under investigation by our Detective Bureau. Thefts, including retail thefts year-to-date, are 202 with 95 clearances. Some highlights that we had for the month is, if the committee recalls, it was an active month at the Board of Commissioners meeting where we hired a new police officer, Paul Narrigan. He was sworn in that evening. Equally as important, Detective Todd Smith was promoted to Sergeant of the Upper Moreland Police Department after coming out number 1 on the list, and he's currently serving as the Detective Sergeant with our CID unit. We also recognized Officer Snyder Nusky, Detective Sergeant Todd Smith, and Mark Bolden, citation of merit by the commissioners for a recent armed robbery arrest. And officers responded to York Road and Davisville Road for a report of an armed road rage incident. Officers determined that there was a minor accident. One of the drivers exited the vehicle in this incident with a black handgun and robbed the victim of her cell phone. As a result of that, those officers were recognized for extending an exemplary police work. And on the 28th of February at 6:30 a.m., a concerned citizen called to report that the vehicle that was involved that had been seen on it. So we were also assisted by the police, where Officer Snyder and Nusky were able to stop the vehicle. I want to draw the committee's attention to the Montgomery County Pretrial Services Division. They released their annual report for 2022, and to give you some history, this went into effect on February 14th of 2022, where pretrial services was enacted by the county commissioners and the common pleas judges. And essentially, it refined the way we were doing business with respect to criminal arrests in the county, that there is a bail review that occurs with this. They meet with the public defender and the district attorneys involved with this, as well as the bail services. So they released a report, and out of 56 police departments in Montgomery County, Upper Moreland was the 7th highest, or busiest, if you will, with 232 arraignments that occurred from February 14th of 2022 until the year's end. Pottstown and Plymouth Townships and Norristown were the top 3. Abington was number 4. The Pennsylvania State Police, which covers the upper part of Montgomery County, was 5. Lower Merion Police, they ranked 6 with 238, and then it was Upper Moreland at 232. So I've attached the full pretrial services report to the monthly report for everybody's review. But what this shows is that our incident rate's up, our crime rate's been up, and the amount of arraignments that we've done just since February until the end of 2022 shows how busy we are, and we're maintaining with the staff that we have. When the next police department that's in front of us, Lower Merion, has 130 officers and they have 238 arrests, I think it shows some comparison and contrast on what's going on within the county. So the other thing we have is we participated in the Montgomery County and the DEA drug take back on the 22nd of April. There were 149 pounds of drugs that were turned in, and we also, with the PBA, partnered up to do the food drive, and there were 5 police cars filled with food, and that was split between the Willow Grove Baptist Food Bank as well as the school district's food bank. So that is the report for the police department for April. Entertain any questions.
In that pretrial arraignment statistics, how many townships were there? We were 7 out of what?
56.
All right.
There's 56. There's 62 municipalities in Montgomery County. 56 have police departments, and the remaining ones are covered by the state police.
Great.
And from the county, it was kind of just thrown back to us, and it's an extra cost to us because we have our own police officers. The county did save money, and so now it is done in-house, where we have to have officers there the whole time, and it is a little bit of a burden for us to take this over without some extra people to do it.
Yeah.
Good, Kevin.
There's time out of town as well, because making those transports up to Montgomery County Correctional Facility.
So what I found interesting, and the board has, focus some attention on homelessness. You said there was 12 homeless encounters.
Contacts, correct.
How do we close those? Are they usually reported by third parties, or are they self-reports?
That usually officers that are out on patrol will come in, or there'll be calls that we receive. And again, it ranges from the Wawa. We do have some people that come in that are not the normal homeless clients that we deal with basically on a daily basis. These are above and beyond that. So a lot of them are in the box stores, parking lots. They're living out of cars, things of that nature. We provide them with information, for the county and your way home. Provide them with that information.
So we recently, myself, Commissioner Scull, Commissioner Lockhart recently participated in an informational session from an organization that does some work with the homeless, the St. Vincent de Paul Society, and they reported us that No Way Home is shut down right now. They're out of their periodic budget money, and there's nobody answering the phone. It's my understanding, or that they answer the phone and just say, "You have to call back another time." So I do want to hear more about that, and as we work with a large organization of people that came out for our meeting about the homeless, and there's a lot of people that want to help, but we need some direction at the top. And while I'm here and we're talking about this committee, I'd like to recognize the work by the Sheriff's Department, because I heard it on the radio today that they're inspecting 92 gun dealers or arms dealers in Montgomery County, all of them. So I applaud your work, and thank you very much.
Yours up from Warren Solicitor, will take a comment.
Yeah, any other public comments? Now next, Chief Glassman.
Thank you, Commissioner McPatrick. It's my pleasure to present the April 2023 Fire Department report. 61 fire calls, 15 EMS QRS calls for a total of 76. There were 37 fire permit inspections. We collected $3,125. The yearly fees collected were $7,815. There are 5 fire marshal investigations. There was 1 significant fire incident. It was April 5th at 575 Pine Tree Road, Abington. We completed 2 community-oriented fire department activities with 20 people attending. 35 personnel attended 351 hours of fire department training. I attached a picture of the May 1st meeting of the commissioners meeting where we recognized all the emergency services people for saving their life at Miller's Ale House. Also, although it occurred on May 12th, I'll bring it and we'll probably talk it next month. There was a significant motorcycle accident on York Road by Giant on the 12th, a week ago Friday. I always talk about response time and why it's important that we have redundancy built into the system. Second alarmist was at Abington Hospital, so they were tied up. The fire department arrived with the police department in right about 3 minutes, and we were able to provide first aid medical care to the victim for 3 minutes until the first ambulance got on scene, and it's starting to sound like it's going to be a positive outcome to that incident. It's not as bad maybe as we thought it was in the beginning, because the victim is recovering quickly. And I also attached a copy of the volunteer responses for the month of April as well. And that concludes my report, pending any questions.
Yeah, but from what I hear, it was a good job on York Road. I even called Chief Block because I didn't see anything. That we got multiple calls that somebody was killed in an accident and stuff, and they clarified it up that he did make it, and not that it's going good, but he's going to get there eventually. So, any other questions?
I'm good.
Okay, public questions? Okay, it wouldn't be right if I didn't, for Charles, ask you for an update on fire safety tip.
Fire safety tip. So it's April and the weather's getting nice, and we're going to start to have outside barbecue pit fires. Please do not use gasoline as an accelerant. There are way too many videos. You have to remember that the vapors ignite. Please do not use gasoline. Use paper or kindling and use safe precautions.
Okay, good. Thank you. Chief Davidson.
Thank you, Commissioner. You have your monthly statistics for March 2023, total of 338 calls for service in Upper Moreland Township, 314 were medical, 16 were motor vehicle collisions, 7 fire calls, and 1 special service standby. Resulted in transport of 338 patients. Transport of 204 patients. 189 to Jefferson Hospital, 12 to Holy Redeemer, 1 to Children's Hospital of King of Prussia. We're starting to go out there more frequently now that they're open. 1 to Doylestown Hospital, and 1 to Temple Hospital. I'm sure that some people heard in the news that the Jefferson Network is going to be shutting down Einstein Elkins Park and focusing more on rehab there, and the emergency room will be closing at the end of June. We don't anticipate any impact on our service from that. We take very few patients there from this area to begin with, and the other hospitals will be able to handle the extra load that we're going to be taking to them. In the month of April, there were 4 naloxone administrations by EMS, so again, that is up a little bit from what it was. Again, the number of calls we respond to for overdoses has been relatively consistent, but just in many cases, naloxone had been given prior to arrival of EMS in some of the most recent months, but we did have 4 separate incidents of naloxone administration in the month of April. Staffing for April, out of a full staffing of 3,240 hours, we were ALS 3,240 and 217 BLS, 42 hours of downgraded to no status. Our vendors continue to work on our 2022 audit. As soon as the financial reports are available, we'll get them out to all the municipalities. And we did send a letter to Manager Canlin renewing our previously made request for ARPA funding for the same continued use increased provider compensation. So if you recall, last year's request was for us to be able to increase the pay of the first responders and providers out there based on what was provided last year by Abington, Upper Moreland, and some of the other townships. In round 1 of funding, we were able to make some of the necessary pay adjustments, and we're requesting consideration for additional funding in the second round so we can continue the efforts to bring our providers to an appropriate livable wage. Based on what we were able to do last year, we were able to work on our staffing crisis a little bit and fill some of those positions, but we do continue to have at least 1 full-time paramedic and 2 to 3 full-time EMT positions open at any given time. Again, as you can see, the staffing is improving, but we still have a ways to go. And I will echo Chief Glassman's request to please not pour gasoline on a fire outside, or it's a sure way to meet us. It is EMS week. Our open house will be this Thursday night at the Willow Grove Station from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So stop by, bring the kids, and check it out. Happy to take any questions if you have them.
Just a congratulations to you guys on that accident that would save, and the kid made it.
Thank you. I will pass it along to the crew.
So good job on that. Any other questions?
Good, thank you.
Any public questions? No? That'll go back to the top. Okay, next, old business. All we have is, it's the invoicing of the spay and neuter procedure for feral cats. There is, do you want to throw out what you did?
Yes, there were.
How many cats or whatever?
There were 2 cats that were trapped up on Dorothy Street. They were taken over to Forgotten Cats. One was a male, one was a female. And we have it on the agenda to have the invoice paid for both cats. It's a total of $150, and it's within line of what the agreements were.
Okay. I have no questions on it.
No, but we're doing something.
Right. Any public comment?
Progress.
No? Okay. Next, new business?
There's a note at the bottom. There's a note at the bottom of that agenda item about moving this over to the finance department for a bill to be paid, for an invoice to be paid for future invoices. So we're not approving every single invoice, which I think is a good idea. Make Randy do it.
That would be fine. That'd be fine with me.
There's not that many of them. I mean, the chief will approve them, but it'll just be on the bills payable list.
Okay.
Already sent to your office.
I think it had to come up for approval, right, Sean?
Yes.
We wanted some kind of public blessing.
I think going forward, we're just going to do it that way.
But now it's been discussed and
Yep.
approved.
There we go. Okay.
I think the important thing is make sure that people get paid as quickly as possible.
Yep.
Because there aren't a lot of people doing this, and we appreciate them.
Okay, then we'll go back to new business. We don't have anything. Any public comment on new business? Any other business? No comments? Visitor comments? Commissioner comments? We're adjourned.